That's old school. Prehistoric.
That's old school, yeah.
So where do you think creative energy comes from?
Where do I think creative energy comes from? Wow. I know that the whole time that I was working a day job, it was pretty much overtaking me. But I don't know. Creative energy. I think that a lot of people just have it, and it has to come out. I think the trick is finding a way to get it out. I'm not sure where it comes from. Maybe it's a gift.
It sure feels like it.
But I know different. What I've observed is that people usually have different ways of trying to get it out.
Yeah.
And, some people are kind of obsessed with it, getting it out, and other folks it seems to come in spurts. But where it comes from, I don't know. It's like, what's the meaning of life? I'm not sure where it comes from. Because it takes so many different forms,
Yeah. I think a lot of people might not paint or sculpt or play music or do stuff like that, but they're like just intensely creative all day long with their personality and telling stories and jokes and just how they get along in the world.
Well, there'll be something. I mean, they'll draw. It'll either be very disciplined or it'll be very loose, and so many different approaches to it. For some folks, it's really haphazard and loose and free, and for other people, it's very, very structured and disciplined. And I know for myself, that's like I think Hartford used to call it being in the zone. He said, "Oh man, I just want to be in the zone." And when I'm in the midst of it, when I get lost in it, and I could be learning a tune, I could be teaching, I could be performing, I could be, at a console mixing, I could be in a cutting session, whatever. When I get in the zone, when I'm doing it, I could be painting my house, I could be building a deck, but when you're in that creative zone, and I think you can, farm, you can be creative about farming, you can be creative about anything that you do, you can be creative in your work, in how you drive across town, and how you cook the books. You've heard them say creative accounting. it takes many different forms, but for me, when I'm in the zone, I can get completely lost in it, and I can look up 6 hours later and just go, wow,
What do you think's good for it to keep you there, or to get it going?
Well, I think being healthy is good for it. I think good nutrition, I think good exercise, good relationship with your fellow man and with the earth. I think you got to have your mind and body, and I think that's better. I think that's better for it.
Kind of balanced, some balance.
Yeah, being rested and just having all your stuff in good shape. I think is better for creative energy, because I don't think I'm very creative when I'm tired. I'll manage it. I don't launch into something like that when I'm tired, or when I know I'm going to be interrupted. I'm not one of these kind of guys who can sit down and pick with a sink full of dishes. I've known a lot of people like that. Just pizza boxes stacked halfway to the ceiling, and they just could care less. And I respect that. I can dig it. But I've got to have order. Things kind of have to be. I mean, I like order and kind of structure to the situation. Not that I feel like I got to be too terribly comfortable. And I'm not afraid to try to do something when I'm a little bit tired, because sometimes when you're really tired, it's almost like a release. If you can, relax into it and do it. But if I'm really too tired, or if I know that I'm not going to get very far, I won't even, launch into something if I'm, too terribly tired.
Man, we got to that gig in San Diego on about 1 hour sleep, and we were just, it was like fart jokes the last hour and a half. We were just like, everything was so deliriously funny. We got up on stage and the music just kind of fell out. Mm-hmm. It's like there was nothing in the way of it at all. But my God, wouldn't be the kind of situation. But for my debut at the Grand Ole Opry, I'm gonna stay up all night. I'm not gonna get no sleep, and it's gonna be great. Wouldn't try to go at it like that.
Well, you do what you have to do, and you played the hand you're dealt many times. You'll be real tired. That's the thing about folks working, playing music on the road. You got to do things. You're overwhelmed. I think that's the thing you have to be careful, when you're an entertainer, because you can entertain with a monkey. You can entertain with a rabbit in a hat, and entertaining, and I mean, if you entertain by playing music, that's they're two different things. You can use them. I mean, you can use music to entertain, but you can also play music that's not very entertaining at all in its presentation or in its essence or whatever. So entertaining is like it's a separate thing. But I used to marvel at watching Bill Monroe's band when they were real. It seemed like when they were real tired, they might get on stage and just, it was almost like it was a relief. They were finally there, and I've been there myself. It's almost like it's a relief. Okay, we're here now. We can just relax and do what we came here to do. But many is the time that I felt like, for everything that we had to do to get there, that it was overwhelming, that it kind of undermined our reason for being there, and so that becomes the quest of the traveling performer, to do his traveling, live his life in such a way that he can be in shape to do what he came there to do. Because if you go through all what you have to go through to do that, and then you can't do what you came there to do, then what is it?
Yeah, you gotta be able to either trick or sustain the whatever hopefully game that you can. So far from home, that's tricky stuff. What does it feel like when you're in the zone, when you're working with creative energy, when it's flowing? How does it make you feel?
To me, it's almost like a high. When I really know that it's that it's happening, it's very, very exciting to me, almost to the point of being overwhelming, and different parts of it too. even chugging through it, to me, when I'm putting the nuts and bolts of it together, like, I think the essence of a band, to me, isn't what it does when it's out on stage necessarily, because it's been said that, you know, music happens once, and then after that you're just trying to recreate it, you know. I think the essence of a good band is what they do when they're trying to work this stuff out, you know. The stuff that you hear in a rehearsal recording that you go, wow, that was really cool, I didn't even remember that happened. But then you take that, you try to build on that, or something that happens while you're recording, and then you go back and you try to build on that and work on more of an idea of that, and you work that into the evolvement of your arrangement going forward as you perform that song. You know, like the way arrangements evolve, and they're a lot better usually later after you've been playing them a long time. Usually a lot better than they were when you recorded them, you know, if you keep playing it, you know. But to me, it's a very gratifying, very satisfying feeling. Like, to me, to spend a day doing anything like that, even if I'm just a part of the creative process, like if I'm working with a band, helping them make their record, to me, that's the ultimate. It's like a day well spent. Or if I spend 8 hours with my banjo or mandolin, you know, in my hand, teaching somebody to play Cripple Creek, you know, I mean, to me, that's a day well spent, you know.
What do you think can, what do you feel like detracts from the flow, or like once you're there, what are some things that can kind of stop it?
Oh, too much chocolate. Oh yeah, too much chocolate. Oh yeah, I've always said that one of the jobs of a producer is to carefully
regulate the
amount of chocolate that is available at a session. You know, you have to.
Does it start out good and then it peaks and then it's just like chocolate overload?
Oh, and I'm kind of using it as a metaphor too. I mean, there's there's a million things. It's like, you know, everybody can't be on. You know, things that are going, interpersonal things can really get in the way. Things that are going on with people personally in their lives, things that distract your focus. And that can be anything. That can be a woodpecker pecking on the house, unless you can somehow incorporate that into what's going on, you know.
Too many squirrels running around on the deck.
Too many, yeah, and you know, and that, it's anything like that that's a distraction. You know, fatigue. You know, anything that's a distraction, and that can pretty much be anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that ability to focus through all of that kind of stuff, and you know, compartmentalize that. You know, for the amount of time that you can set aside to work on and do creative things, and you know, I think you know, that kind of changes, you know, with your ability to do that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah. Like, kind of rein in your peripheral senses a little bit and just be like, okay, you know, we're not going to, you know, let that air conditioner hum or whatever, the 60 cycle fluorescent lights at the...
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it seems like that I've been with bands on stage, and if we were somehow able to do it, if you could zen through the bad sound and whatever else, man, you could just put on a good show. You could have a good performance and zen out a bad sound system. But also, many is the time that you can't. I mean, you can't get through it. You can't hack your way through the jungle for the other things that are going on. Or maybe most of the people in the band can, but there's somebody who just can't. He just, it's too overwhelming for him.
Do you think what are your thoughts on the relationship between creativity and dreaming? Do you think they might be part of the same thing or separate deals?
I think that, and I'm no expert on this, but I've done a little bit of reading, and I'm always interested to find out information on this, just about learning in general and what part of that process happens in your sleep. But I think that things get sorted out in your sleep. And I don't know about that, but you said dreaming. And dreaming, I don't know. There's been things, I know that I've had creative things happen in dreams. I do think that things happen in sleep. I know that if there's something that I really want to have down stone cold, that I want to do it to where I've got at least 1 or 2 nights to sleep on it, because I feel like if I do that's when I really learn it.
So we'll lock in or integrate.
Lock in. If I work on it and then I sleep, get up the next day, I might not. I can work on it then or whatever. But I think that something does happen in your sleep that has to do with learning, and I think that everything that you learn, is part of your, creative tool bag. So
it's like you gotta have this kind of subconscious integration, and then you wake up and it's almost like it's kind of locks it in so you can master it, and then you wake up and be comfortable with it or something.
I think so. Oddly enough, I had a conversation with a guy this morning. This is one of my banjo students, and this he's a really smart guy. And he thinks about it. It's, the whole process for him is very cerebral, and that's what he enjoys. But we got to talking about, I'm always telling him, look, don't think about this too much. You got to do this. You got to feel it. Because I like to teach by ear. Some folks, they want tab, and because it helps them because they're more of a visual learner, and I can dig it. And so for people that need tab, I try to kind of work with them with their tab and that sort of thing, or the musical notation. But what I try to do is to get people to learn by ear. I try to teach by ear, because that's the process. You're going to, because everybody that comes to me, their ultimate thing that they want to be able to do is they want to be able to jam with other people. They want to be able to play music with other people. And to do that, the process is, okay, you hear somebody play something, you process it, you react to it, you play something back to them. And we got into this conversation about, I said, now look, don't think about this too much. And then he got to a place where he said, yeah, I'm thinking about it too much. And then he told me about something he had seen just this last week about, they were doing this research about, and it was on musicians, oddly enough, and when they were playing this piece of music, when they were playing it together and not looking at music and playing it from, just from memory, that everything was going along really good. And then they introduced something else that they had to think about and integrate into what they were doing. So the process became more mechanical and more where they had to think about it more. And when they did that, it interjected a little bit of a delay, and it kind of put everything out of sync where it didn't work as good as it did before. And of course they were monitoring brain activity while all this was going on. And so when the upshot of it is when the thinking part of the brain was going, it kind of shut the subconscious part off, and when the mostly subconscious part was going, the thinking part was shut down. And and I know that a lot of that has to go on, and all the time that he's telling me, I'm thinking, well, so what do jazz musicians do? I mean, what do they do? But anyhow,
they just blow.
Well, they got because they got to be I guess they got to be thinking all this. So maybe they've thought about it beforehand.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. That's why I don't play jazz.
yeah, and so, but that whole thing is kind of based on, how it all fits together.
Yeah, conscious and.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think there's something going on there with like the muscle memory and the subconscious, and how you react to things. So there's something that goes on. Now, dreaming specifically, I don't know. I don't know that much about dreaming. And it seems like that in my younger days, I used to remember more dreams. I don't hardly remember dreams as much as I used to. And I don't have reoccurring dreams like I used to.
Must have worked them all out or something.
Maybe so. But I know that I have dreams, and I know that it seems like I fall asleep very quickly now. I fall asleep very quickly, and I kind of start slipping into like a dream kind of really deep relaxed thing fairly quickly these days. I mean, I can do it in a chair in 20 minutes. I mean, I may do it during this interview, so watch out.
That sounds like it could be a blessing, though.
I think it really is. I think it's, to be able to relax and and I find that I really need it too. I mean, sometimes I just need to just chill out, even if it's just for a few minutes, and just stop moving, because I get very fatigued and agitated if I have to just power through a whole day without just a little bit of a quiet thing.
Yeah. You know who I find to have a lot of creativity and an interesting in a good traditional framework is Mike Compton. What might you have to say about the way he works with his creativity within the system of traditional bluegrass?
Well, I know that Mike, he's a hard worker. And I've played music with Mike for many years, and I've never really thought that his process was dissimilar from others that I've worked with. I know that he's seems like he's been a long time coming around to it. He's refined his process over time, but he's worked at it for many years. I mean, he's been working hard at playing that mandolin for many years now. He's my age. He's my exact age. So.
But I really love some of that stuff. Those recordings y'all made over here. He's got some great tunes, that Avenue of the Giants and stuff like that. Who are some? Go ahead.
Well, he's got a lot of original material, and one of the things that I still want to do with him is do a recording of all his original tunes.
That'd be a humdinger.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite creative folks around town?
Well, if you got started naming names, that's the thing about being here. On this, we could spend the rest of this interview just talking about the people that live on this street right here. It's just amazing. It's amazing, the people, the creative energy that's within, and I'm talking about just the stuff that I'm intimately involved in, the musical community. But like I said before, creative energy takes many forms, and so I kind of notice it everywhere. I notice it in the architecture, I notice it in the way people keep their yards, the way people have their gardens. But the music, the people in this town, I mean, you could run across them daily. That they would just they would have something to say, something to offer, something to write, something to sing, and that would just blow your mind. I mean, it goes on and on.
Have you ever had like what do you think is there a connection for you with like the mystical aspect of creating? Do you feel like that, like there's a spiritual component of it always, sometimes? Does it matter, any of that? Like what are your thoughts on like the connection between like spirituality and creativity?
I don't really know how to speak to that, because again, I think we might get back to this thing of it being a gift. And there's been times that things has happened to me, like losing people, or losing people that were huge in the music world, people that I was close to, or people that I was enamored of, that I got this inkling that, well, this soul is passed over, he's passed from the humanly realm, and perhaps there's a lot of energy, a lot of musical energy or creative energy or something that maybe just got released into the cosmos there, and wonder if I'll be able to pick up on any of it, or there's definitely been times that I felt like for some reason or other that I just kind of got zapped with a stream of it, because all of a sudden it's like there was a bunch of things that had occurred to me to do, not that I